अंशुमान, you are saying you were not, मैं ज्वाइन नहीं कर पा रहा था, ये वाला सेशन या इससे पहले वाला सेशन? अंशुमन, okay, I'm unmuting. This session we started at 6:50. You were the first to come. I think तुमने सीधा ज्वाइन किया. I allowed you. You can unmute yourself now.
ओके सर, मैं वो ज्वाइन नहीं कर पा रहा था सर.
We had taken a break from 6:40 to 6:50. बीच में ज्वाइन करने की कोशिश कर रहे थे?
नहीं सर, अभी.
ठीक है. You have missed nothing. We're going to start polity today. Very important. So let's first get an understanding that how many books and what you have to read, what is the syllabus, the contents of this. So your polity, like history, starts with class 6. Class 6, 7, 8 make a separate block. जैसा हमने history में पढ़ा. That 6, 7, 8 you cover everything, but in not much detail. Basics, you cover basics of everything. Then, what is this mentality? Anybody try to explain this to me? Whenever we take a break, no matter how long or how short it is, every time a few less people turn up in the class. No matter what I'm teaching, how I'm teaching, I don't think it depends upon what's going on in the class. There is something else that's working here. When we started the class, the counting was about 20, 23. Now it's 17. Something like Abhi in polity, I come across an incident. It's mentioned there that before midday meal scheme was announced and it got implemented across the country, many of the students who used to go for lunch to their home, most of them would not return for the second half. तो हमको यहाँ क्या 10 मिनट मिड डे मील लॉन्च करना पड़ेगा क्या? Do not go anywhere. Have a midday meal for the next 10 minutes or mid session meal. गजब है. Anyway, so like history here also, six to eight make a separate block. Then 9 and 10 is a separate block, and 11 and 12 are separate block. Although most of the things that you need to read and understand is covered in these two books. So these 4 books. So 11th has 2 books and 12th has 2 books. So 4 books here. Most of the things are covered here, and these are covered in such great detail that they will come very handy in your mains preparation. You will see when we will discussing, and I will give you a comparison with the GS paper 2 syllabus, and you will come to understand that most of the topics you can solely rely upon NCERTs to prepare from. So many a times questions that are being asked on secularism, you will see that there is such a great in-depth analysis of secularism in India in class 11th NCERT that one chapter is sufficient enough to write whatever you want to. You have to write in exam on secularism. just supplement it with some newspapers, recent judgment articles. That will be sufficient. Similarly, we have a separate chapter here on separation of power. I will make you understand what these terms mean, but just giving you a reference from the syllabus. सेपरेशन ऑफ पावर यहाँ अलग से पढ़ेंगे. सेपरेशन ऑफ पावर एक पूरा चैप्टर है उसमें. एग्जीक्यूटिव. Then we have a separate chapter on federalism. That's a topic in syllabus. Topic in our syllabus. So these four books are more than sufficient to understand the whole thing. But we will take some time to quickly go through it. So these 6, 7, 8 books are not like history 6, 7, 8 books. In history 6, 7 books, UPSC was asking direct questions from those books. So we had to do that in great detail, each and every word. We didn't missed anything from that. Abhi aisa nahi hoga. You will see that in these books, at least in class 6, 7, 8, these are more like the economics book. Some of you, those who have attended the economics, these are the economics books of class 9, like class 9th and 10th. Most of the stories, just few important words in and there, nothing in much detail. So ऐसा कुछ इधर है. But many of you are completely new to this subject. You do not have any idea. So instead of directly jumping into the class 11th and 12th, in one or two class, we will try to create an atmosphere of environment that is suitable for reading polity. You will have some idea क्या पढ़ना है, कैसे पढ़ना है. Then we will start this and we will try to cover as many as quick as we can. So today our discussion will be limited to this class 6, 7, 8 books, whatever has been written there. And when we will reach to class 11, 12 book, I will add my inputs and we will try to make that a comprehensive note. So थोड़ा एक बार देखते हैं what are the things that we have to read in this book. So this is your class 6 NCERT. The first unit talks about diversity. Then the second unit talks about government. The third topic talks about local government and administration. And the fourth unit is about livelihoods. So you can get a rough idea what we are going to read in. We will read about diversity, what kind of people are living there, how. So abhi isse pehle, when we start, let's have a discussion that NCERT has done in great detail, the author of these books. That before, the name of these books are social and political life. ठीक है, क्या नाम है? Social and political life. See, social and political life, class 6 NCERT. It's not civics. Before these books were started, so before 2005 or so, हम लोग, if you will ask to your parents, and we even used to hear at our time that कौन सा सब्जेक्ट है? सिविक्स है. क्या पढ़ रहे? सिविक्स पढ़ रहे. But NCERT, the writers of this book, reach to this conclusion that civics that was being taught at the time, वो बस ऐसा थ्योरी पढ़ाता था. कि this is the right that you have, this is the institution, this is how it works. It was not talking about the current situation. It was just saying that you can go to a police station to file a complaint. You can go to the district magistrate and for this work. You can ask your MP is supposed to do this. But it was not talking about the practical difficulties that a citizen find. But in this book, and all through this book, from class 6 to 12th, you will be finding that the book does not talk about the idealistic situation. It gives you examples, it gives you instances where things are not working properly, जहाँ पे कुछ अलग किया जा सकता है, जहाँ पे people are harassed, So these books are a bit more critical, and these books are a bit more practical. After reading this, you will get you yourself will understand your right. So in this class, there are many students who are my regular mentees. In many of the classes, I used to discuss with them that I filed this case with this body, or इसके साथ ऐसा case or ऐसा हुआ. So when you understand your right about right as a consumer, at least all of us are at least a consumer. So when you read polity, when you read constitution, you come to understand that okay, these are my rights, and I need to protect that right. I have the channel, I have the authority to go against them. Then you can go, you can fight, and you will see that in many of the cases you will get the justice if you have the right idea. At the ground level, many a times if you do not have any idea that who you are, what powers do you have as a citizen, you will find yourself lost. But once you will be through these books, you will emerge as an aware, conscious citizen who will not just fight for his own right, who can fight for others' right too. Okay? That's the practical use of this book. That's the idea behind, that's the way in which these books are written. So, class 6 NCRT, as I said, the 4 topics: diversity, government, local government administration, and livelihood. Class 7. In this book, we will read about the book is the crucial role that equality plays in the Indian democracy. In this book, we will read about equality, how and why equality is important, and how equality supports democracy. The whole idea of equality, that you understand as a layman that you and me and everybody is equal, and many of you will not even be appreciating that how crucial this idea is, because we as a common man, we have lived and survived in a society which is hierarchical, which we understand that somebody is more powerful to us, and we understand that even that person has someone above him. That's, we understand the hierarchy, and we never understand, or kind of never revolt, kind of never try to fight against this hierarchy. So when you will understand this idea of equality, this in itself is a very big revolutionary idea. Why Bhagat Singh was fighting all along? Because he thought that everybody should be equal. The farmers and the landlords, the workers and the factory owners should be equal, even before the constitution was written. And now when we have the constitution and we have been given the right that everybody is equal, and even then if we are not fighting for the equality, or even if we do not, let alone the fighting thing, we do not know in the first stance that what this equality means, तो क्या ही कर रहे हैं? After reading this chapter, you will come to understand that how a UPSC aspirant is different from a common citizen. You will not remain a common citizen after finishing reading the polity thoroughly. You will have a different approach towards the life. So, in this book, we will read. Let's see the contents in detail. Class 7th NCRT. This is equality in Indian democracy. Then we will read about state government. In previous chapter, इसके पहले we read about local government. So उसके बाद we will be reading about state government. Then we will be reading about gender. So civics is all about laws, rules, and regulations. Social and political life. The book in the way in this book is designed, is talking about gender. Gender, you may think that the gender is something about sociology, why we are reading it's polity. But when we will read, you will come to understand that gender has a great bearing upon how the laws are designed, who gets the right, who do not get the rights. So we will read about gender. Then the role of media, the role of markets, and then finally again about equality. This will be our class 7th polity. This is class 8th polity, and it's again just a continuation of that. ये क्या बोलता है? The textbook also marks a departure from the earlier ones precisely because they name and identify specific forms of inequality. Before this, we will read about equality, that why equality is important. So when you will be reading about equality, you will read about inequality, but you will see that they are not precisely named. This will give you just an idea that okay, there is an equality against women, there is an equality against minorities, there is an equality against someone else. But here you will go into much more detail about all those inequalities, and they will be named and identified. The caste, religious, gender distinctions are also realities that are present in the classroom. When we are here discussing polity, all of you will agree to this idea that there is a great inequality prevailing, or caste, religious, gender distinction prevailing in this class. Many of you will be belonging to different castes. For now, many of you, I come across many students who come from the background that they say, "Sir, I do not know my caste. Sir, I do not bother about my caste." And just by saying that, they think that because they do not worry about caste, there should not be any discussion about caste, and there should not be any reservation for caste because they do not worry about caste. But now you will face the reality that you have to know about your caste. Some people even argue this. I think this question must be in many of your minds, that why we are reading this? Why we are reading about caste inequality? Isn't it that by reading this, so this is the textbook of, remember, this is the textbook of for class 8th or 6th, 7th student. So maybe a 6th class student might not have even heard about what is caste, and he is being taught that there is a caste and there is a caste inequality. So isn't it that we are introducing caste for them, which they might not have been reading in, uh, or they might not have been known in their lifetime? If we remove the caste, whole discussion of caste from our textbooks, any opinion on this? क्या टेक्स्ट से कास्ट को पूरी तरीके से हटा ही नहीं देना चाहिए? And do you think that by removing this, we will solve this issue of casteism? Student will not know, they will not discriminate. Those who support this idea that casteism should not be taught in this level at 6, 7, 8, all of you support this. Yes, it should be taught. So I will ask that, those who are in support, कि हाँ, this should be taught, raise your hand. Okay, Abhay is raising his hand. Pooja is raising. Puspita, Samra, Navina, Stuti, Purna, Priyanka. Good. 9 of you think that it should be. So class is now 11. We have crossed the 50% mark, and so majority is now in the favor that there should be. And those who are not raising their hand, okay, now it's 12. Good. 13 now. तुम लोग तो एकदम रुक रुक के वोट कर रहे हो. Okay, so government, I think the eyes have it, eyes have it, and now the law has been passed. 15. So I'm inviting one of you. Let's call. I've not heard anything from Sayali, so asking her. Can you just give me any idea? क्यों तुमको लगता है कि पढ़ाया जाना चाहिए? Why do you think that this should be taught in schools? Sayali, it need not to be very concrete. जो भी तुमको समझ में आता है, keep it a very open discussion. Nothing to worry about.
Yes, sir, I'm audible to you.
हाँ हाँ.
Sir, as we are, our India is of different caste and creed, so that the student should know about the caste, and they from the class 6 they should aware about this condition, because while they come across different things in future, so the beginning point of this should be from the class 6, so that they should understand what is a caste, and while they living with other students, they should know not the touchability issue, but after they come across the reservation, they some people are very angry about this, that reservation should, why reservation is there, why reservation is for the minorities. After knowing the caste issue, the student will know why reservation is there, because those minority people is from many centuries is they are unable to study, they are away from education and all the society, and so that there is a reservation, and that is why the caste issue should know the student.
Good. Caste issues should know the students should know the caste issue. But anyway, good. You articulated your point very well. I'm satisfied with your answer. That's what I would have even argued. Anybody want to add something to it? You are very welcome. Or otherwise, anyone?
I wanted to
Yeah, Puspita.
counter it's. I think during class 6 or 7, they're not aware of like students are not aware of caste system, but gradually they will come to know about this from their family, from their society. Then wrong information can come to them, but when they are reading in books, like there will be more in like perspective of the caste system will come to them in a very well mannered. So that is important to read from the books only.
Good. That's also a good point. But just putting this to all of you, question. The ultimate aim, even the greatest of all the people who have fought for this Dalit empowerment or untouchability and all these issues, is B.R. Ambedkar. And his idea is annihilation of caste, to remove the caste. So, isn't it that by teaching the students we are enforcing that caste system? We are not at least annihilating it. Whatever we are doing, we are not annihilating it, isn't it? Anyway, all of your answers are good, and no, we are not. It's a way to annihilate by teaching the students, by making them aware. You have put across good points, all of you, and I kind of proud that I'm proud that I'm teaching such aware students. Uh, so, in class 8, we will be studying about this in great detail by taking the names of the places and societies. Class 8 book also has a focus on the rule of law and social justice. So it doesn't only talk about the inequality, it's also talk about how we can ensure justice how we can counter that, what are the provisions, what are the laws for tackling this uh, discrimination. So idea of social justice is also there. Just have a brief look at the chapters that we will be reading here. This is class 8th NCERT, Indian Constitution and Secularism. Okay. So you will again read secularism in much detail in class 11th, but you will get a introduction here, Indian Constitution and Secularism. Parliament and making of laws. So how Parliament make the laws? So see the gradual progress. We in 6 we will read about local government. In 7 we will read about state government, and in 8 we will be reading about central government, Parliament. Parliament is central government. So central Parliament and the making of laws. Then we will read about judiciary, which ensure kind of social justice system. So judiciary, social justice, and the marginalized. We will go and have a look at your syllabus. Marginalized section of the marginalized section is a separate topic in your main syllabus. So you will getting a lot of ideas from here. Who are the marginalized and these other things. Economic presence of the government. So how government or what government can do in economic arena, creating of public facilities, law and social justice, etc. So you will get a rough idea that who should be paying for your vaccines. Then class 9th and 10th. So as I said, these are a separate block. क्या बोलता है somebody is saying something. The class is being recorded. Not recorded. Oh, okay. It's going live, so you will have access there. Much to worry about.
Now starts recording.
Yeah, I started recording, but nobody will miss anything. It's fail safe mechanism now. अगर इधर नहीं हुआ तो उधर हो जा रहा है अभी. तो in nuclear power plants we use the system of fail safe mechanism. What this fail safe mechanism means is that most of the times in general engineering we plan that our system will not fail, and all of our effort is that how to prevent a failure. Like if you are building a bridge, what the engineer will be thinking about, that ये bridge बस टूटना नहीं चाहिए. That will be his ultimate aim. Bridge टूटना नहीं चाहिए. Brick, make it very strong, and whatever you can do इसमें सोना चांदी हीरा मोती जो लगा सको लगा दो, टूटना नहीं चाहिए. But when we create a fail safe mechanism, we think that what will happen if this bridge collapse. How can we reduce the casualties? कैसे कम कर सकते हैं कोई ना मरे, कम से कम destruction हो. That will be a fail safe mechanism. So in nuclear power plants you can never take a chance that it will not fail. There's high probability that it can fail. Just saying high probability, it's a very less probability that it will fail. समझ के बोलना कि बहुत 90% चांस है कि फेल हो जाए, मतलब फिर भी फेल हो सकता है. And if it will fail, it will create a lot of destruction. So the nuclear power plants are designed in such a way that if any problem will occur, तो थोड़ा बहुत तुम लोगों को आइडिया होगा कि there are nuclear fuels inserted into liquids, जैसा जिस तरीके का डिजाइन हो. So if there is any failure, the first thing that these nuclear power plants do is they will remove these fuels from the generator and keep them at a very safe location. ऊपर का पूरा उड़ जाए तो उड़ जाए, लेकिन वो यूरेनियम नहीं ब्लास्ट होना चाहिए, उसको एकदम तुरंत वो लेके चला जाएगा 2 किलोमीटर जमीन के नीचे. गिविंग अ कॉन्टेक्स्ट, आउट ऑफ कॉन्टेक्स्ट आ गया ये, लेकिन तो ऐसा whenever that's a good method of designing anything. कुछ कर रहे हो लाइफ में तो you can have a fail safe mechanism. What if I fail? Yeah, what I was about to tell you. So class 9th and 10th NCRTs. They are Democratic Politics 1 and 2. So they are part of the same block. In 8th, last year, the tour of democracy introduced you mainly to some basic ideas, institutions, and rule of democracy. This year, focus shifts from institutions to the processes. देखो, मतलब ये 10th के बारे में ये बात कर रहा है. In 9th, you will see that focus is on institutions. Democracy, what is democracy? Why democracy? So democracy in itself is an institution. Constitution and its design is an institution. Then electoral politics, how it happens, why it happens. Then working of many institutions, like working of parliament, working of president, and all such other positions. Then understanding your democratic rights. This we will read in class 9. And in class 10th, as it says, that focus shifts from institution to the process, that how these institutions are created, how they actually operate. So you will read about election in the 9th. So in class 10th, you will read about actual implementation or on-ground implementation of elections. So federalism, power sharing, democracy, and diversity. So see, again a repetition of the topics that we have read above. We will start with diversity. We will again read diversity. We have started with democracy and we will again reading democracy. Gender, religion, and caste. So in class 8th NCRT is saying that we will be naming the the discriminations like gender, religion, and caste. Here you have a separate chapter about gender, religion, and caste. Popular struggles and movements. This will be about political struggles and movements. Then in the 6th chapter, we will read about political parties. So you will see that many political parties have emerged from the movement. And finally, we will read about outcome of democracy and challenges to democracy. Okay? Why? Here you can have your answer to the questions like why China is growing and why India is not growing. Why China? Which model is better, Indian model or Chinese model? Many of you will be listening around your households, around your friends, around your chacha, mama, tauji that India need a strong leader. India need complete dictatorship. ये democracy बहुत too much of democracy. Recently we come across that phrase too. India has too much of democracy. So we will have a debate around that. सही में too much democracy है कि something else. Then class 11th and class 12th. See, this is class 11th NCRT. You see, again, all those chapters are, you have to read that in great detail. Equality, जो पहले पढ़ा था, 11th में 2 books हैं, एक बार देख लो. Starting. In 11th, you have one book of political theory. So this book will mainly talk about the broader topics, the big issues of polity that we discussed, that are contemporary, that are in our contemporary discussions, जिसके बारे में political scientists बात करते हैं. So political science is not just about winning or losing elections. Just understand this. Those of you who are thinking about taking PSIR as optional. So political science is not about winning or losing elections, and it's not about just knowing that what what are the laws, what are the institutions, what prime minister can do, and what prime minister president can do. It's not just about this. It's much more than that. That how you use this into the lives of common people and into the improvement of your life and improvement of the life of your citizens, or the citizens, or the overall humanity. That's the political theory. We'll see in this, we will be reading about ideas such as liberalism, Marxism, fascism. Part of syllabus these are. Then we will go into much detail and we will be reading about concepts like freedom and equality entered, and then we will be reading about, so what it says, the objective of the course is to introduce students to some of the important ideas and concepts which form of a part of the living tradition of political thought in the world. So it's not, we will be not just reading about this theories from Indian perspective, from a global perspective we will be reading. Freedom. A lot of discussion. As I said, Gandhiji never declared that what Swaraj means. So what freedom means. But here we will read about what truly freedom means. And we see, when we say that we got freedom, India is a free country. How so? Equality, social justice. So again, a repetition of the topic social justice in previous classes. Again here social justice. Rights, repetition of topic. Citizenship. This is a new topic here. Nationalism, new but very relevant topic. Secularism, repetition of the topic in class 8 में पढ़ रहे थे हम लोग सेकुलरिज्म. सो फिर अगेन रिपीटेशन ऑफ दैट हियर. Okay. We will read about peace and development. So development is also a part of, like we read about economic aspects of what government should do and should not do. So development is not just the economic issue. कितना पैसा लाया, कितना पैसा खर्च करते, it's just not an economic issue, it's a political issue. So we will read it from the political perspective here, development of the country. There are the political theories, very important. Not much from prelim questions nowadays. You will find that one or two questions from these theories are always coming up in the prelims, and those questions are really tough to crack if you do not have a solid background in these chapters. मेंस में तो आना ही आना है, एक तो कहीं ना कहीं टकराएगा इसमें से. एंड अगर डायरेक्टली नहीं आता है तो यू विल बी यूजिंग दिस कॉन्सेप्ट इन ऑल द आंसर्स. Then this is the second book, that Indian Constitution at Work. 11th में दो किताबें, एक political theory that will be talking about the world, global perspective, and this book will be talking about Indian Constitution. So in this book we will be reading about how institutions are shaped through interaction with actual politics. So we will not just reading that this should have happened, this is equality, this is secularism. We will actually see that how the idea of secularism has emerged into India through the interaction of different parties, different groups, different people, different intellectuals. So that we will see here. Here we will be reading about constitution, why and how, why we need a constitution and how does it help, how it is created. Rights in the Indian constitution. We will be reading about rights, democratic rights here. यहाँ भी एक बार पढ़ेंगे, but now we will be going into much more detail, right, and reading clause by clause in much more detail. Elections and representations. So we will be reading about power sharing in class 10th, but उसको यहाँ फिर और थोड़ा डिटेल में. एग्जीक्यूटिव, लेजिस्लेटिव, जुडिशियरी, फेडरलिज्म पहले भी पढ़ा है, जुडिशियरी पहले भी पढ़ा है. Local governments, again the same thing that we will be starting our chapter today, starting our discussion with class 6 में local government. Constitution as a living document. So in this chapter we will be reading about how the amendments of constitution happens and why the amendments are important, why Indian constitution is called a living document, and then finally philosophy of the constitution. This is class 11th, book 2. Then class 12th. These two books are, so in class 12th, this book will take a again broader aspect, and it will be discussing much more about the global phenomena. And this is actually not a part of our GS2 syllabus. Polity के लिए जितना अच्छा नहीं है, जितना useful नहीं है. This is more important for your world history chapter. So दोनों को एक मिक्सचर के रूप में पढ़ना है. Cold War era. This will also help you in understanding India since independence. So what are the factors which has guided India after independence? Cold War era. End of bipolarity. This terms will हो सकता है कि तुम लोगों को थोड़ा किसी को आइडिया हो, किसी को एकदम भी आइडिया नहीं हो. We will read about that. US hegemony in world politics. Why US is the US dictates the terms in the world politics. They say that we will do this, so everybody follows. They say that we do not do this, everybody follows. So US hegemony in world politics. Alternative centers of power. You will see that there is a decline in US hegemony, China is rising and other countries are rising. Then we will read about contemporary South Asia. International organizations is a part of your syllabus in GS paper 2 international relations. वहां पे अलग से इंटरनेशनल ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस के बारे में पढ़ना है. ठीक है, एक स्पेसिफिक टॉपिक है सिक्योरिटी इन द कंटेम्पररी वर्ल्ड. सो दिस इज जीएस पेपर 3 इंटरनल सिक्योरिटी. अगेन दिस कैन बी अ पार्ट ऑफ इंटरनेशनल रिलेशंस टू environment and natural resources. You see the broad spectrum of polity. We are reading polity, but with that we are reading history, with that we are reading international relations, with that we are reading security, GS paper 3, and then environment and natural resources. So in GS paper 1 geography में थोड़ा काम आ सकता है. This will be more useful in GS paper 3 where you have to specifically read about environment and natural resources. So the politics of environment and natural resources. This will not teach you that यहाँ पे लोहा मिलता है, यहाँ पे coal मिलता है. This will teach you about the politics of it, that why a certain section of people control it, who can mine it, who cannot mine it, and all those things. So environment and natural resources. And then finally globalization, that we, if you remember, the old students started this, we read about this in economics, and see it's again coming into polity. And when you will be reading sociology, you will be again reading this in sociology. So that's how I kind of guide my students, that first finish the basic syllabus, then go for answer writing, then go for consolidation of your notes or anything else. See, one topic, environment and natural resources, can have various aspects. You can think it from political angle, you can think it from sociological angle, you can think it from economical angle. And yahi karna hai when you will be writing essays. These things will come handy. How many perspectives you can generate. And all of this that you will be reading in NCERTs. Then the second book called Politics in India Since Independence. So this is purely your GS paper one, India Since Independence. You have to read there. But this is focusing on political part of India since independence. But then there are economical issues in that time. What the financial crisis and all those things we have to read about. Then there are sociological perspectives that how society developed and nuclearization of family after independence and corruption and all those other things. So we will be reading a specific stance, politics in India since independence. Let's just give a brief look at the content of this book. Challenges of nation building. अभी तक हमने क्या पढ़ा हिस्ट्री में? India got independence, Pakistan was bifurcated, but after that the nation building starts, because at that time there were many principalities. Many people still do not have this idea of India as a country. Many states were assimilated in India for the first time. So this created many challenges for nation building. So how our leaders tackle this? This is again a part of your GS paper 1, India since independence. वहाँ पे एक specific topic है, redistribution of boundaries, state boundaries. So era of one party dominance. In this you will be reading about how Congress rule lasted for so long and how it was challenged and what changed after that. The politics of planned development. So you will be reading about how the bias, as I said in the previous discussion, that the champion of socialism in India were at that time two of the greatest people, Subhash Chandra Bose and Nehru. So he was socialist himself. And socialist, when we will read socialism in detail, you will come to know that they love planning. So because of that legacy, India also followed a plan. And what was the politics of this plan development? India's external relations. This is very important for GS paper 2, international relations. Challenges to the restoration of Congress system. Crisis of democratic order. In this we will be reading about emergency and all, I suppose. Rise of popular movements, the movement that happened and happening in India. Regional aspirations. So this is again a topic in GS paper 1. Regional aspirations. क्या बोलते हैं इसको? Sub-nationalism, nationalism and sub-nationalism. That's a topic. Recent development of in Indian politics. What's happening at the present moment, that we will look, have an idea, and in this way we will complete our polity. ठीक है. Content बताने में इतना time लगा, so you can just suppose that how much time it's going to take us. I will be not rushing through the classes. I will try to be as detailed as I can I will try to have some discussions with you कि आप लोग का भी थोड़ा सा आइडिया चेंज हो, खुले, मैं भी जानूं क्या आप सोचते हैं. So any questions till now, or I should start with class 6 NCERT? 2 मिनट टाइम लो, जिसको कुछ, अगर किसी को कुछ पूछना है, if anybody want to ask anything. कुछ नहीं. You guys have raised your hand this time, or it's a hand that has been raised for? अभी कुछ पूछ रहे हैं? पुष्पिता, you want to ask anything?
No, ये तभी से है.
अच्छा. I'm lowering all the hands. Okay, Bhai is asking that what I said after seeing 14 votes. If you will see the parliamentary debates, Lok Sabha ka ya Rajya Sabha ka on the TV, you will come to understand that when the bills are passed in the Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, speaker generally so उसको voice vote बोलते हैं. Speaker will ask that those who are in the favor of the bill say ayes. Yes का Anglicized version ayes, and those who are against the bill says no. एक ही line. So people will shout ayes, and then people will shout no. मतलब who is shouting what nobody will know, but ऐसा एक loud आवाज होगा वहाँ पे ayes, and she will ask this for the 3 times. Those who are in the favor say ayes, those who are in the favor say ayes, those who are in favor say ayes. And at the end, she will say that I think the ayes have it, ayes have it, ayes have it. The bill is passed. That's how the bill is. Most of the bills are passed in our country. Similar to Britain, a British tradition that we are carrying till now. So that was what I was saying, that now we have crossed the 50% marks, and I think ayes have it. ठीक है अभय. चलो क्लास 6 से स्टार्ट करते हैं. बहुत बेसिक डिस्कशन है. I will be not going through line by line. I will take the broader aspects, try to understand, try to make you understand that what is the important, what is the purpose of this topic, and if there is anything important in that, I will discuss that. The first chapter itself starts with understanding diversity. So you should understand that we are living in a very diverse country, India. And in this country, this is very important for all of us to understand that how important this idea of diversity is. You can also see that there is a image, there is a shadow of what we have faced in our history, because of which our thinkers, our book writers, our intellectuals are so careful that in the very first chapter they are introducing us to the idea of diversity, because the partition that happened and the people who are still talking about partition, their main ideological plank is that they do not want a diverse country. For them, only those who conform to their ideas should create a country, and those who do not agree, उनको पाकिस्तान चले जाना चाहिए. So that's why that you can see, अगर थोड़ा एनालाइज करो तो इस बात को कि ये चैप्टर सबसे पहले क्यों आया है यहाँ पे. So understanding diversity. All of we have like बचपन से पैदा ही हुए हम लोग यही सुनते सुनते इंडिया इज अ डाइवर्स कंट्री, यूनिटी इन डाइवर्सिटी एंड सो ऑन. two questions, many questions are here, but two questions that I found very interesting is, are all kind of differences a part of diversity? And can diversity also be a part of unity? Let us try to find the idea of these questions. You can further read other questions here. That what is diversity? What does diversity add to our lives? So in one of my class, I think in the personal mentorship class, I was giving you some instances about how I went to one of the towns in Bihar, which has a great high percentage population of Muslims, and how I realized that markets are very different there, and that creates a lot of opportunity for people from different backgrounds. So in that sense, we will read more about what does diversity add to our life, why this diversity is important. Why cannot we just have one kind of people here? Why we need diversity at all? How did India become like this? इतना diversity हो कैसे गया भाई? You will see Western countries are not much diverse. Everybody follow 99% of the population is following same religion. Even if they have different religions, they have kind of same upbringing. Later, they might have changed a different religion. So, basic thought, basic ideology, the kind of dress they wear, those things are very much same. But we have huge diversity. Although diversity is everywhere, do not think that diversity is your sole right. There's this story about two or three friends. The story is not important. You can go and read that. So the question is, what does diversity add to our lives? But you have eaten different kind of food at their home, celebrated different festivals with them, tried out the clothes they wear, and learned some of their languages. So ये दो दोस्त हैं वो एक दूसरे से मिलते हैं तो in that sense you can understand because of the diversity we get different kind of foods, different kind of cuisines, we celebrate different kind of festivals, we get to wear different kind of clothes. So sherwani is one of the best example nowadays. Sherwani is a must if you are going to a marriage, at least your if it's your own marriage. It doesn't matter you are Hindu or Muslim. If you are in North India, in South you will be wearing dhoti or all, but you will be wearing a sherwani in North India, irrespective of your religion. That's coming from where? Not a Hindu tradition. So go to Pakistan, and they have this system of doing क्या बोलते हैं मेहंदी को इंग्लिश में क्या बोलते हैं? Anybody can help me?
Henna.
Henna. So they also practice that. Whatever it's called. So that's again a diversity. And we learn different languages. But what is the purpose of all this? Like many of you, अभी ये बच्चों के लिए ठीक है इतना समझ लेना कि अच्छा हमको बहुत अच्छा खाना खाने को मिलेगा, बहुत सारा कपड़ा पहनने को मिलेगा, and we will get many stories in different languages and all those things. But a person who believes that diversity is not good, he can ask you that just for good foods, you want to sell your countries to others, just for good clothes, you want to compromise with your ideology. Have you come across such debates? People debate like this. What answers you will give them? Growth is important for you or your religion is important for you? चर्चा करेंगे इस पे कभी, but अभी एनसीईआरटी इतना कह रहा है तो just understand this much. Try to think about this. So how to explain the diversity? India has a very diverse geography. Okay, when that's how all the subjects are linked so much. So India has very diverse geography. In diverse geography, people from a certain region will adopt a certain kind of fooding habit, certain kind of dressing habit. So in West Bengal, as we read in our history discussions, that they eat fish. Even the Brahmins are allowed to eat fish because fish is available in abundance. But then Gujarat is one of the highest producers of fishes. But Gujaratis have very less number of non-vegetarians. So here, the impact is more of the culture, the religious gurus, the teachers that evolved here. They created this idea of vegetarian food, vegetarian diet. So we have that here. Similarly, we celebrated Pongal, Onam, and so many other festivals in different parts of India on 13th and 14th April, Baisakhi, Lohri, Khichdi, like Khichdi nahi, Baisakhi, Lohri, and other such festivals across the India. That depends upon the geographical nature. कौन कहाँ क्या किसको available है. Our clothes are different. Our dialect is different. मैं थोड़ा अंग्रेजी में बोलता हूँ तो तुम लोगों को बिहारी वाला फीलिंग आता होगा. Because my dialect is that I have been brought up in that culture. Because of that, we have great diversity, geographical area which we live. Then there are historical influences too, as I said. What kind of teaching was prevalent there? What kind of people were influential there? What kind of protest and movement happened? So whole through the Tamil Nadu's culture changed quite drastically in 20th century because of Periyar. Why? Because he started self-respect movement there and gained a great following. So both the parties who win there are the supporter of Dravid ideology, Dravid identity. We read about that in the Hindu classes as well. कैसे वो Dravid ideology को follow करते हैं. So that influence is coming from not just geographical factor, because although there is a geographical factor because they have a separate land, not completely separate, but the historical factors played a vital role too. In this book, they have compared Ladakh and Kerala, and in that they have tried to find out that how history and geography has impacted both the regions. If you will go to Kerala, you will find that people here practice all sort of religions: Judaism, Islam, Christianity, Hinduism, Buddhism. Christians has a very good number there. If you will go to Ladakh, you will mainly find Buddhist because the influence of Tibet and China. Here, some important facts are here for the exam purpose. Kaser Saga. Kaser Saga is the Tibetan national epic which are performed and sung by Muslims and Buddhists alike in Ladakh. ठीक है, तो अगर कोई क्वेश्चन आए कासेर सागा, it's a Tibetan national epic which is performed by Muslims and Buddhists alike. देखो, epic तिब्बत का और प्रैक्टिस कर रहे मुस्लिम एंड बुद्धिस्ट इन इंडिया इन लद्दाख. Ladakh is also called Little Tibet. यहाँ देखो, the influence of China or China is so much so on Kerala that the fish nets. Anybody is from Kerala in this class? So the farthest that we have is the people from Tamil Nadu. Abinya is from there. Then we have some students from Karnataka, from Andhra, but no one from Kerala. Anyway, so the fish, they call the fishnets Cheenawala, 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 because the nets probably came into the Kerala from via China, and the utensils are called Cheena Chatti, again coming from the origin, showing the origin of चाइना. तो ये भी चाइना के टच में आया, तिब्बत भी चाइना के टच में आया, बट द कल्चर इज वेरी डाइवर्स. Unity in diversity, that's all of you have heard a lot of times, but this, if you can somehow remember this or paraphrase it in your own words, you can use this into essays that will create a very good impact. In his book The Discovery of India, Jawaharlal Nehru says that Indian unity is not something imposed from outside. Okay, Indian unity is not something imposed from outside. What Britishers were saying that हम अगर नहीं आते तो इंडिया बनता ही नहीं. India was created because we came and ruled over all over India and created a uniform system. That's what Britishers said. But what Nehru is saying, that our unity is not imposed from someone outside, but it was something deeper within its fold. The wide, and what is this deeper and within its fold? That is the deeper tolerance of the belief and customs was practiced. The widest tolerance of belief and customs was practiced, and every variety acknowledged and even encouraged. So इंडिया का यूनिटी कहाँ से आता है? इंडिया का यूनिटी आता है फ्रॉम दिस आइडिया, फ्रॉम दिस belief and custom of tolerance, which is practiced and which is even encouraged, that you should be very tolerant. In our family, different people have different style of prayer, different style of worship. Everybody has different gods. So this is our, as per Nehru, this very idea that everybody can have a different belief system, a different custom, that is what unites us. And this comes from very within, very from the deep inside of India. ठीक है? It says that Indian national anthem is also a expression of Indian unity. Why so? You can think and let me know later that why do you think that this Indian national anthem is expression of Indian unity. That's about diversity. Coming to chapter number 2, that is diversity and discrimination. अभी तक discrimination. Till now diversity looks very good. Oh, all good. India में इतना diversity है. We are so great. We believe, we allow everyone. Nehru said that we have such a deeper feeling, deeper respect for all the religions and tolerance for all the religions, all the practices, the belief system, the customs. But let us see that how this diversity lead to discrimination. Just to give you an idea of how diverse we are, there are 8 major religions in the world, and every single one of them is practiced in India. So there is no major religion which is not here. We have more than 1600 languages that are people's mother tongues, and then there are more than 100 dance forms. That's the diversity of India. 2 terms you need to remember. This will be keep coming. एक बार जब इससे इंट्रोडक्शन हो गया तो इससे इंट्रोडक्शन होता रहेगा. The term is prejudice. Means to judge other people negatively or see them as inferior. Do you think you have been prejudiced against someone in your life? Most of us are, willingly or knowingly or unknowingly. We kind of make our uh, opinions even before knowing people. If you will talk to a psychologist or even some sociologist, they will say that humans are inherently prejudicial because we judge the people just by. So if you will be taking some leadership classes, some speaking skill classes, the teacher will tell you, or if you will read the book, they will tell you that people judge your, like if you, when you see any video on, you are seeing a lecture on YouTube, it's said that we decide the person in his first 14-15 seconds, that we are going in first 5 to 10 seconds you will decide that okay, are you going to hear him or not, and in the next 5-10 seconds you will already decide that okay, he's whatever he's going to say is right or wrong. Without even listening, most of us reached that conclusion. That's the truth. Very few of us have this capability to set our prejudices, to move over that, to overcome that, to set the burden of the social learnings that we have with us. So prejudice, remember the definition, means to judge other people negatively or see them as inferior. We can be prejudiced about many things, like people's religious beliefs. So most of you have, सबको ऐसा लगता है ना कि उसका रिलीजन बहुत बढ़िया है, दूसरा का खराब है. किसी को किसको नहीं लगता है, किसको लगता है कि उसका रिलीजन खराब है, या किसको लगता है कि उसका रिलीजन सबसे बढ़िया है. तो कुछ नहीं लगता, बढ़िया है, तुम लोग डिप्लोमेट. So you can be prejudiced about people's religious belief, the color of their skin. This is, इससे तो कोई इग्नोर नहीं कर सकता that you are not prejudiced about the color of people's skin. All of you are, up to certain extent I am too, trying to leave that, and up to certain extent I have, but still we have our, if you are, the the prejudice against the color goes so deep in our country that we are prejudiced against ourselves if our skin color is not good in that sense, not fairer, I think I should say. So color of the skin, region they come from, so बिहारी गंवार होगा, uncivilized होगा, so you can be prejudiced about the region they come from, or the accent, the accent they speak in, like my accent, you can be prejudiced about that. इसको तो अंग्रेजी भी ठीक से बोलने नहीं आती है, अंग्रेजी भी भोजपुरी की तरह बोलता है. The clothes they wear, you can have your, our prime minister, great prime minister said once that the protesters or the those who destroyed the properties or make the chaos, they can be identified by their clothes, showing the prejudice that prevail in the system, clothes that they wear, etc. So you can be prejudiced about all these things. Our prejudices about others are so strong that we do not want to form friendship with them. At times, we may even act in a ways that hurt them. Without even knowing them, without even trying to understand them, we can first ignore them. We will first ignore them, and if when we cannot, we can even hurt them. The other term is stereotypes. So there is a subtle difference between prejudice and stereotypes. You first create a stereotype and then you become a prejudice against them. How do you create a prejudice? Stereotype. Stereotype is like, तुम तो लड़के हो, boys should not cry. Huh? So boys should not cry. That creates a stereotype that boys are meant to be strong. Girls, you need to be very gentle. You should not laugh aloud in open. So that's creating stereotype. One of the biggest stereotypes we were discussing in some of the, I think in this class only, about the age of marriage. So we have kind of stereotyped that girls should be of lesser age than men. This is prevailing all across the country, except in some tribes. So these are stereotypes. Stereotypes against disabled. So sometimes stereotypes can be so much entrenched in our mindset that even we do not want to hurt someone because of those stereotypes. We will end up hurting people. How? We have this stereotype that disabled people are, they need help. So even though they are capable with all the supports that they have, we will end up offering them something that they might feel that you are treating them differently. We end up treating them differently, although they might be trying to be normal. So as it says again, we fit all boys and all girls into an image that society creates around us. ये stereotype कहाँ से आता है? Stereotype is given by the society, and we try to fit everyone in that stereotype. In that a certain frame parameter is given to you, and you try to fit everyone into that. And if someone do not fit into that frame, that person is not good as per the society. As I said, girls are soft and gentle and they are well behaved. When we fix people into one image, we create a stereotype. Okay? We can say that people from a particular region of the community, uh, belonging to a certain religion or sex or race background, they are stingy, lazy, criminal, dumb. They are, in this way we create stereotypes. What is the problem with it? That stereotypes stop us from looking at each person as unique individual with his her own special qualities. Very important line. Why you should not be stereotypical? Because when you create or judge people based upon these stereotypes, let's suppose you are the district magistrate and somebody comes up to you from a village area. He's wearing probably dhoti kurta or something like that, wearing a slipper, and he comes to you. He asks certain things to you, and before even he approaches you, what kind of image or what kind of your stereotype that a person who is wearing dhoti kurta or normal slippers or his legs are dirty, it will create an image that he might not be very well educated. He might not be able to understand the complex working of the civilization, but it may happen that he is a very well-known or very well-read intellectual person living in a village. They will not judge him based upon his qualities, but based upon the stereotype that you have created. with his or own special qualities and skills that are different from others. So what we do, the stereotypes fit large number of people into only one pattern or type. Stereotypes affect all of us as they prevent us from doing certain things that might otherwise be good at. Abhi, as an individual, how stereotype is affecting you? एक तो ये डीएम के जैसा हो गया कि how you judge the society, but how it affects you, that probably you are good at something. Like many of you have faced this in school or colleges. कोई छोटा लड़का है, he might be good at some sports, but just because his height is less, people may the teacher might first exclude him, करे ये तो छोटा है, इससे sports नहीं हो सकता. So the idea that short people cannot play. Similarly, there can be many stereotypes, and based upon that, you might have faced in your life that people have outrightly rejected you just before even giving you any chance, based upon your origin, based upon your educational background. That ये तो आर्ट वाला है, तो इसको तो कंप्यूटर समझ में नहीं आता होगा. It may happen that you are very good with graphics, coding नहीं आता, or it may happen that you have read coding on your own, but these stereotypes will affect your life chances. And this lead to discrimination. So prejudice and stereotypes lead to discrimination. Discrimination happens when people act on their prejudices and stereotypes. So all the diversity that we saw, that will become a source of discrimination, because you will be prejudiced against other people diversity. Whenever you will come across someone who is not like you, it will create some kind of prejudice in your mind, and you will not give them the equal opportunity that you will give to people whom you know. So like we saw, just giving you a practical example, in civil services or in any services, you will see and you will read in further chapters that people from lower caste, always in quote, make this practice. If you are writing anywhere, if you are writing lower caste or higher caste in your answers, always use double quote. Never just write lower caste, because when you say lower caste, it means you are justifying that. अगर simple कह रहा था कि yes, this is lower caste. This is lower caste because historically they have been said lower caste. By putting these quotes, you say that this is not my opinion that is lower caste. ठीक है? So make this a habit. Put the quotes lower caste, and same with upper caste. So it's not that when you are writing Brahmins upper caste, तो उसको छोड़ दिया कि इसमें तो कोई दिक्कत नहीं. So upper caste is as per the historical answers, not as per the modern interpretation, and at least not my interpretation. So in services, you will see that officers who are coming from lower caste, they do not get favorable appraisals from their seniors. They may not even get good postings in their life, in their service career. Why? Because those who are the higher level, they will have this perception that अरे ये छोटे कास्ट वाले इनका उतना intellectual level नहीं है, so they will not be able to do certain things, so they will not be even given the job at the first place, because the seniors who might belong to a upper caste, they are prejudiced. जितना ज्यादा डिस्क्रिमिनेशन डाइवर्सिटी, उतना ज्यादा डिस्क्रिमिनेशन. when we will be reading about secularism, we will discuss this discrimination issue in much more detail. अभी यही चलेगा, पूरे बुक में यही चलेगा, ठीक है? All through the discussion, this will be one of the major issue. That discrimination can be because of poverty. Someone is poor, just because of that you can discriminate against them. अरे वो तो गरीब है, उसको तो हम बोलते हैं ना कि अरे वो उसको खाने नहीं आता, he do not have an idea of how to behave, उसको तो बोलने भी नहीं आता because he is poor. Then the discrimination can be because of caste that we have discussed. It's a very good story that you should know about, and this kind of sums up this idea of prejudice and discrimination. Now, B.R. Ambedkar, you know the name. In 1901, he was of 9 years old. His father was working at Koregaon. Nowadays, this Bhima Koregaon issue is very much highlighted. Go and read about this. हर दिन कभी ना कभी न्यूज में इसका कुछ ना कुछ एडिटोरियल आर्टिकल रहता है. भीमा कोरेगांव, same state we are talking about, same place. So his father was working at Koregaon. If you remember, we have read that Ambedkar belonged to Mahar community, and Mahars have accepted the service of Britishers. First they worked in Maratha army, and then later they joined Britishers. And Bhimrao Ambedkar's father was also working as a military teacher in British army. So they were financially good, I suppose. So this idea of when you get that Ambedkar was a poor man, उनके पास पहनने के लिए कपड़ा नहीं है और चप्पल नहीं है, that's not a true picture. He was well off economically at least. So he had gone with his brothers and cousins to meet his father in Koregaon, which is now in Maharashtra. And somehow what happened that they were waiting at Koregaon station and nobody come to take them. They had their tickets and all. Station master came and asked कि कहाँ जाना है, क्या दिक्कत है. They explained that we are waiting for the father or his servant to come, but that neither had turned up and we do not know how to reach Koregaon. They were well-dressed children. So that's why I have highlighted this. They were not poor children, they were well-dressed children. The first impression that the station master had that they are the sons of and they were well dressed and they are also talking well because they have read their families economically well. So he thought they are Brahmin children, and for a while he looked very concerned that कैसे भी इनको पहुंचा दिया जाए इनके घर. But Ambedkar somehow blurted out that we are Mahars. At this he was stunted, his face underwent a sudden change and now he suddenly seemed apathetic. ठीक है, इनको जो होना है होने दो, I'm not concerned about that. They waited there for hours. The father had not turned up nor had sent his servants. So you can think Ambedkar's father had a servant too. It's not economically as a poor झोला लेके स्कूल जाने वाला बच्चा मत समझो, फटा जूता पहन के जाने वाला. His father has a servant too. When no one turned up, it became kind of almost night. He asked, the station master came again and he asked, अभी क्या करना है बताओ. They proposed that let us know the way कि कितना दूर है वो भीमा कोरेगांव. Either we will start walking on foot or hire us a बैलगाड़ी, bullock cart, and we will pay the price. Even they were ready to pay twice the money, double the fare. But this news that They are from Mahar community. This has spread to all the bullock cart owners, and now they were none of them were ready to carry them because उनको लग रहा था कि अभी हमारा गाड़ी गंदा हो जाएगा. There was none of them, not one of them was prepared to suffer being polluted and to demean himself carrying passengers of untouchable classes. And nobody has any idea what to do. So this kind of discrimination people have faced. You will read more about Ambedkar in the if you will read about his struggles, his life story, that how even when he joined as SDM, वो पढ़ लिख के आए तो उनको बोला कि तुम जाके SDM बन जाओ. उस समय ऐसा अपॉइंटमेंट हो जाता था. He went there. He started searching for house, and everywhere he was asked that who you are. He said Mahar. SDM है. अभी सोच सकते हो कि today SDM has so much power. At that time SDM was kind of, तो वो तो क्या ही होगा उस समय. You can understand the power and prestige of SDM of that era. He was not given a house. Ultimately, he started living somewhere because the owner didn't ask कि तुम किस community के हो. उसके बाद बहुत टाइम बाद उनको कहीं से पता चला कि he is a Mahar. The news spread into the community, and one sudden fine morning when he woke up, he realized that his house is surrounded by the people. They are ready to kill him or burn the whole house itself, and he has to run away from that house from the back door. So that's the chapter here. Equality is a value that we have to. अभी equality के बारे में इतना समझ लो. These lines will be very helpful in essay writing and all. Equality is a value that we have to keep striving for, and not something which will happen automatically. If you want equality, like you will be hearing this from many of the people that Constitution has given us equality, but we have not been given equality. We do not see equality. We do not find equality. So equality is not something that you have been given for once and it will be with you for generations. Equality is a value that you have to keep striving for, or not something which will happen automatically. People's struggles and positive actions by the government are necessary to make this a reality for all Indians. So there should be people's struggles. This will be happening all along, and then government should take some positive actions to create opportunities for equality. I think we have some paragraph from Ambedkar himself in this. Okay, it's not in this chapter, in some next chapter. I think the classes have run for so long. Let's take a break. कल आते हैं and we will try to cover 6, 7, 8. जल्दी करेंगे थोड़ा और. आज मैं थोड़ा आइडिया दे रहा था आराम से. कल आएंगे तो जल्दी खत्म करेंगे. ठीक है, एंड करूं.